All right, so this is the in-class quiz on solving a quadratic equation. Now, this particular quadratic equation is not factorable, so you could have used the quadratic formula, which is here, or you could have solved this by completing the square. But in class, I asked you to solve this using the quadratic formula. So let's go ahead and do this using the quadratic formula. And so first of all, when solving a quadratic equation, you have to make sure it's in standard form, so meaning that you want 0 on the other side and you want to have the quadratic expression in descending order. Now what we're going to do next is determine the values for a, b, and c. So remember, a is the coefficient of x squared, so that's positive 2. B is a coefficient of the x to the first term, which is a positive 5. And C is your constant, which is a negative 2. So in the quadratic formula, we're going to substitute these values. Now my variable is x, so we're going to say x equal. Now remember, this right here means the opposite of b. So b in this case is a positive 5. So the opposite of a positive 5 is a negative 5. Plus or minus the square root of, and then b squared. So we've had a discussion before about b squared never being negative. So to be on the safe side, always put the value of b in parentheses. So b in this case is 5, and I've got to square that. Minus 4 times a is a positive 2, and c is a negative 2. All of that, notice I'm extending it from negative 5 all the way to the end of the radical expression. All of that is being divided by 2 times a, and a is 2. Simplifying the radicand, or remember in the quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant. But with regards to any radical expression, the expression that's under the radical symbol is always called the radicand. So we're going to have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared means 5 times 5, so that's 25. A negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8, and a negative 8 times a negative 2 is a positive 16. All of that is being divided by 2 times 2, which is 4, equal. And so I get negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 16 is 41 divided by 4. All right, now at this point, remember you want to simplify radicals if possible. Well, if you think about the square root of 41, the only perfect square that goes into 41 is 1. 41 is a prime number. So in terms of simplifying the square root of a prime number, you cannot simplify the square root of a prime number. So the only factors, remember the only factors of a prime number are 1 and itself. And 1's the only perfect square that goes into that, so you cannot simplify it. So that means this is it. That's your answer. Now if you wanted to rewrite it as two separate solutions, you could. You could say negative 5 plus the square root of 41 over 4. That's a 41. And then comma negative 5 minus the square root of 41 divided by 4. Okay? All right, so that is it. So that is the key to the quadratic equation.